So obviously winter right now, a lot of people's eczema is flaring up. Their skin's getting drier. Uncontacted tribes have a very healthy skin microbiome. And they don't see these occurrences of eczema at all like we do in the West.
The next big question is, okay, we've got this problem, but what do we do? How do we actually rebuild the skin microbiome?
Sam and Kit Wallen-Russell, who really took skincare into their own hands.
Twin brothers from the UK who are taking the skincare industry by storm.
Sam is a nuclear astrophysicist, and Kit is a geophysicist and author.
A Notre Dame grad and his twin brother are looking to revolutionize skin health.
The two launched a 2-year intensive research study.
Two very smart guys who knew all about bad skin at a very early age.
That woman at the end was our mum, and really she's the face which launched 1,000 questions for us.
We've just got back from the park run 5K, and it's always a really good time to talk. We talk anyway about everything under the sun. So best time to talk about eczema and the skin microbiome. But what was your time in your park run?
Mine was very slow. Recently, I've been overweight, very injured. So this was about 24:06, I think. How was yours?
Well, I mean, let's just say we've got a 10K race tomorrow. So I was trying to pace a nice, gentle 25-minute one. But I ended up getting 24:36 because my watch went wrong. But
yeah, Sam, sorry, just to say to everyone who thinks that we're non-sporty, actually, my 5K PB is 20:56 recently in the park runs. And what is yours?
I much prefer to run after a ball, but mine's 21:14, so not far behind you. That was with
21:14.
Yeah, that was with 3-4 weeks of sort of intense, or not intense, but consistent training. So I mean, if I would, if it became my passion to run 5Ks, I'd love to train for it, but it's not really my passion. It would be it's just nice to get up in the morning, keep fit, and then the most exciting thing for me is to play a game which like tennis. So we're tennis players, and to play it where you have fitness plus skill, and all of the different ins and outs of the game, and playing a competitive game, that's what I love. But anyway, so first 10K tomorrow. Right, so as we're in the zone after running, one of the most common things is I saw quite a few people on the run who had skin that looked like they had eczema. So obviously winter right now, a lot of people's eczema is flaring up, and their skin's getting drier. And I just wanted to go back to basics and the discoveries that you found in your papers about how eczema is linked, or what it's linked with.
Cool, yeah. So you're right, though. Everyone in the winter suddenly sees the re-emergence of things like eczema, don't they? And they suddenly get much drier skin because of the changing climate. But the thing, again, I'm going to do is take it all the way back and actually look at the overriding or the underlying problem here throughout everyone. And all we know, we talked about this in so many other podcasts, is that everyone in the Western world has a really unhealthy skin microbiome. So it basically just means a really unhealthy ecosystem on their skin. So again, I'm going to say it every single time, but the analogy is of the Amazon rainforest. So a healthy ecosystem on our skin, imagine green, luscious, loads of plants, loads of animals, loads of flora and fauna. That's a healthy ecosystem, and that would mean that we would have very few skin problems, if at all. The opposite of that is where humans have come in and they've logged it, and then it's very barren, it's dry, it's brown, it's dusty. So you've seen those shots from above in the helicopter when they go over the logged parts of the Amazon, and you can tell the difference straight away from the actual luscious parts. So every human in the Western world, even the healthiest ones, they have this barren and dusty ecosystem on their skin. We'll go into the reasons later, but as a result, even the most healthy people are very prone to things like skin problems, and actually, as a result of that, whole body health problems too.
Okay, so you started to release the answer there, really, but you've talked about these two different systems on our skin, one that's healthy and one that's unhealthy. It sounds quite obvious, but for eczema, what has eczema been linked with?
Very simply, eczema has been linked with that unhealthy ecosystem I was talking about. I don't know, do you want me to go into the details a bit more about what that means to the skin
Definitely
microbiome?
not. No science. We're not going to go into the depths of. I could go into entropy and biodiversity, and I do not want to go there. So all I want to get the picture is that before our research, and a lot of the research that we cite, is that people didn't really know, or didn't know at all, and they still don't, where eczema fully comes from.
Yeah. And again, like a lot of diseases, there are a lot of contributing factors going into it. So it's not just, I can't remember the word, but it's not just one factor which goes into causing and exacerbating the disease. So the same is true of exactly multifactorial, multifaceted, whatever. Basically, what we're trying to say is that there's so many factors which go into it. But one of the biggest factors is this damage or this unhealthy ecosystem we were talking about. And again, if you have an unhealthy ecosystem, just imagine that picture in your head of the barren, the dry and the dusty parts of the Amazon. Then this leaves your skin, and actually we'll come into it later, but your whole body open to attack from things. And this is where disease comes from.
Right. And I think it's important to note that the reason that we started all of this, we talk about it everywhere and in every other podcast, is that we saw there was a massive increase in these chronic skin diseases problems like eczema. And while every other or acute diseases have completely dropped, these chronic diseases, starting with skin, have completely and massively shot up in the last 75 to 100 years. And so there must be something in the environment that is causing this. So we set out to find what that was, but first we had to find out what the problem was. And so linking eczema with a damaged skin microbiome was the first step in this, wasn't it?
Yeah. So the first step was, again, there's loads of research and you can go into the very specific details about what parts of the skin microbiome are damaged in eczema, what this means, the systems in the body which then produce the processes which exacerbate eczema, things like this. A simple overview, which is so important, which is very rare nowadays and is actually quite hard to explain for most people, is that unhealthy, barren, dry ecosystem is seen in eczema and actually is seen in every single skin problem across the board as well, which is a very important point to make, I think, there. So once you have ecosystem damage and depletion, a bit like in our natural environment, and it's lost the defenses which it needs to protect itself, then things start to fill that void, and that's when problems start to happen. So on our skin, the microbes are incredibly important for our health and protecting us. So once you start killing that ecosystem and destroying it, then problems start to happen.
Okay. So we're not going into it in this one, but there are things in our environment that are destroying that skin microbiome, that ecosystem. But so for people, if that's the cause, so we've linked a damaged skin microbiome with eczema, then obviously the opposite, which you mentioned earlier, is if you have a healthy skin microbiome, then you don't see these skin problems like eczema, do you? So the studies that you use a lot are on people, uncontacted tribes or very remote tribes who have a very high or healthy skin microbiome. And they don't see these occurrences of eczema at all like we do in the West. So to end and to wrap up, the goal there is to then get a healthy skin microbiome.
Exactly. So the study authors of one study on this isolated tribe of people in the Amazon called the Yanomami, actually. Really nice name. I love that name. They actually noted that things like eczema and acne were actually just Western modern problems. So they're actually problems which have only been around in modern history for humans. So these chronic things which we're seeing a massive explosion in, which all the Make America Healthy movement in America is all about solving, and which we've dedicated our lives to. These things have only been a very recent human problem. So as you say, the next big question is, okay, we've got this problem, but what do we do? How do we actually rebuild the skin microbiome so everyone in the Western world can have that luscious, thriving ecosystem on their skin, which is going to in turn protect us from all of these dangers and all of these potential diseases, which are just a problem waiting to happen if we have unhealthy skin microbiome.
Exactly.
And that's the holy grail, isn't it? And again, this is what we take people through. We've got the world's first Skin Microbiome Fitness Packages, and we take people through these programs to rebuild the skin microbiome and to get it from that barren, that dry, and that dusty, and that bleak ecosystem back to that luscious green one, that thriving ecosystem.
Yeah, I think you summed it up well there. We're not going into detail, but that's a good place to stop, Kit.
Exactly. And I think in the future, again, once people have that understanding of the base, then we can go into more of the specifics, because science people, they love to focus overly so on specifics of the skin microbiome in eczema without really realizing the bigger picture, which is so important to have in our heads.
Yeah, well, as you say, we're here to do the science and understand it, and what people want is a solution. So we're not here to argue with people about the science. We're here to do that every day in our papers and then to find a solution.
Exactly. A wonderful place to end there, Sam.